Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Punch Man Season 2, Episode 2. So yeah, we're here with another episode of One Punch Man, and yeah, the first episode, the premiere of this second season, was fantastic. Although the art and animation was definitely not on the same level as Season 1 with Studio Madhouse, I think JC staff is doing their best. I think they're doing what they need to do to make this the best second season possible with a new studio. And this entire situation is weird in the first place. Like, I don't really think I know any other studios that have done this, that have basically given over an anime to another studio for its second season. There might be some, I just don't know any offhand. Unless, I guess, you want to count Berserk 2016. I mean, if you want to count that. But yeah, it's just like, I'm excited for this because again, while the art and animation may not be exactly the same, it may not be as good, the writing is still on point. The characters, on point. Comedy, the musical score even. All of it still fits excellently. And again, people are going to completely just compare it to the first season. And I mean, it's a season 2, so it's fair to do that. But at the same time, it's like, you should also count it on its own merits and stop just comparing everything. And again, the only real thing people seem to be comparing it on is the art and animation. Like, after the first episode aired, everything I saw, like, on social media, it's like, there's like this one comparison image. It's like, this is what King and Saitama look like in Madhouse. This is what they look like in JC staff. And it's like, that's pretty much everything I'm seeing. It's like, okay, get over it. The art and animation is not that good. I get it. Everyone gets it. Complaining about it constantly is not going to change anything. But a series is not built upon its art and animation. Good art and animation is fantastic. It can make it better. By having bad art and animation, or just lesser, because the art and animation here is not bad, by the way. It's just not as good. It doesn't make the series bad. Because, again, a series like lives and breathes, not on art and animation, but on character and story, on its writing, on its pacing, on all of that. That's the stuff that you need to focus on. And I've heard no one say anything about that, one way or the other, except for, like, Chibi Reviews when he did his review of it. And even he said it's like, it wasn't that bad. But it's like, no one's talking about, everyone's only talking about the animation and art, and how it's not as good as it was for Madhouse. And it's like, it's just ridiculous to me. Because everyone focuses on the wrong shit. But either way. So yeah, first episode, we got a good focus on King. So King is the 7th rank hero in the S class, and is known as the strongest man in the world. I mean, no matter what, we knew that wasn't true because Saitama. But we find out that it's really not true because King has never even been in a fight. He's actually, like, probably average strength. I mean, he does look like he's well built, so he probably does have some level of strength to him. But he's also a, like, massive coward. And I'm not even saying that in a, like, wholly negative way. One, he admits to it. Two, I'm saying it's like, he's afraid. He's scared of these monsters, of these robots and enemies. It terrifies him. And it makes it so that he kind of likes, he tries to avoid this conflict. And every time, like, he's been given this credit for a big monster defeat, it's always because of someone like Saitama, who actually is the one who destroyed the monsters. And he just happened to be there at that time. And I feel bad for the dude, because the dude is like, he's just like, what did it say? 29-year-old, unemployed. He's He's a self-proclaimed otaku. We see that he is especially into gaming, and especially into dating sims, which is awesome, by the way. I love that. Um, but he seems to. I mean, I guess you could consider him employed, though, considering he works for uh, the hero organization. He is employed by them. He does get money from them. Um, it's just like he's basically not doing anything. He's employed. He's just not actually doing anything in reality. So it's like it's more on that line. But we see that he's just trying to kind of get by, and he wishes he could leave the hero business, but is even too afraid to say something. He's afraid of how people will react if he does. And so we see in last episode, Saitama has a talk with him, and basically it boils down to, in the end, get stronger. Saitama tells him, just get stronger, work to better yourself. Maybe then you can be the hero all these people look up to. And one like idea I had thought of outside of like that, if he didn't want to do that, like one legitimate idea I had thought of would be like maybe he could announce his retirement officially, not like tell people that he was a fake, but just announce he's retiring from the hero business, but that he's going to act as a mentor for an up-and-coming hero. Saitama, for example. He's going to act as a mentor. In reality, he's going to maybe be seen around with him, hang out with him a bit. Obviously, he doesn't actually need to be a mentor to Saitama, except maybe in like the professional hero world, give him a little advice on how to be professional and how to work a crowd, I guess. But yeah, I mean, obviously Saitama's not going to really need the mentoring, but just for the public eye, say that kind of thing. And as long as, again, he's seen in public with Saitama every now and again, it keeps up that illusion. It also keeps up the illusion that he's still strong, but that now he's putting all his effort into Saitama. The attention will then move to Saitama, who people will start to acknowledge more his actual strength. And so they'll start to think maybe this is because King has been training him. So it will preserve King's image as well as build upon the image of Saitama. It's actually a brilliant idea. And it would really just help on every level. Because King wouldn't have to act as a hero anymore. He would get out of that business. So yeah, it would be probably the best possible option. But I just unfortunately don't see it actually happening. It would be great, but yeah, I don't see it actually coming to fruition. Um, I don't really know what's going to happen with that. But we also saw in the first episode two other characters of note. First is Speed of Sound Sonic, who is kind of a self-proclaimed rival to Saitama at this point. Sonic, I would not claim to be a villain or a bad guy. I would consider him more along the lines of a neutral enemy. He kind of does what he personally desires to, which right now happens to be his hunt after Saitama and whatnot. But I wouldn't really call him evil. I'd kind of lump him in like with Deathstroke from the DC Comics. Deathstroke was never a straight out villain. It's just because Deathstroke has worked for both good guys and bad guys. It's basically just whoever pays him the best. And I kind of view Speed of Sound Sonic in the same way, because when we first met him, he was working for this businessman, and just because he was getting paid for it. And it kind of struck me that way, like, oh, he'll work for whoever pays him. Right now, the only reason he's going so heavily after Saitama is because he kind of has this almost grudge with him. So it's going to be interesting to see where they take that this season. We also have Blizzard, Fubuki, Tatsumaki's younger sister. So we know in the OVAs, she had started to gain more of an interest in Saitama and Genos, especially after working with Genos on the train and everything. Um, and so, yeah, I'm wondering, she's probably going to be, well, I mean, we can see she's kind of looking to find out more about Saitama as well. But unlike with Sonic, her goal is more of like she wants to understand what's going on with him. She wants to learn more about him and probably maybe give him a bit of a test in a way. Now, she has this group called the Blizzard Group, and maybe she'll try to get him to join that, but I really don't see Saitama doing that at all. He's fine with working with others, I feel, but he's not going to join a group. I just don't see him being in a team like that. I think the closest he'd ever have to that is just working along with some um, friends and associates from time to time. You know, Genos, as an example, being his student. Maybe Bang, because Bang is, you could kind of say, a friend at this point. Um, People like that, working alongside them every now and again, but not actually like as a legitimate team, you know. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes as well. And I believe I missed something in the post credits of episode 1. Um, I believe when I went to go check that again, there was a post credits scene that I just completely missed. And I'm surprised no one actually brought that up in the comments. Um, but yeah, there's this post credits scene that shows Garo, um, who is definitely going to be the main villain in this season. I don't know much about him other than he was a student of Bang. Um, but I'm very interested to learn more. He's definitely a bad guy. He's a bad guy, and he was a former student of Bang, and I know what he looks like. That's about it. Um, I am excited to see more, though. I am definitely excited to see more. Because, yeah, this this has proven to be just, it's One Punch Man again. It's the same series, just with a different animation and art style. And again, it's not even that much worse. It's just, I'm not going to get into all that again. Because I could rant about that and people's over exaggeration on all of that forever. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this second episode takes us, so let's get on with it. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so another good episode under our belts. This time, we had an interesting couple of things happen. So there's 3 things that really need to be focused on here. And I'm going to try to get to them basically in order. So, first off, we have Garo's real, true introduction. He was kind of shown in the after credits scene of episode 1, kind of just very basically introduced. But here, we actually get to see more of him and kind of learn basically what his deal is. So Garo, who was first discussed in Season 1, the disciple of Silver Fang, also known as Bang, Garo apparently likes monsters. He seems to look up to monsters and wants almost kind of like I feel to be one. And he sees himself as like the ultimate villain right now. In this room we saw last time that Sonic was in, with all the villains gathered, where Sitch was trying to get them together and everything, he kills everyone there, except Sitch. And the only reason he seems to leave Sitch alive, he even acknowledges Sitch is alive at the end, because he talks to him right before he leaves. even though Sitch is hiding at the moment. He basically leaves him alive. It's like, oh, basically, I'll be back in 6 months. You guys get ready. um, he massacred everyone there. And that's wild to think about. Now, power-wise, we knew he was going to be powerful enough to do this, just based on the build-up we had in Season 1 and everything. We knew that he would be like one of the big villains of this series. So that's nothing of a surprise. The surprise is more along the lines of his personality. He seems to have almost a enjoyment out of doing this kind of stuff. He seems to, it's almost like it's fun for him. And that's interesting to know. His personality, just the way he speaks and stuff, he speaks in a very matter-of-fact tone. Like he's just like, this is just how it is. In a way, it's almost kind of like Saitama. In a way. But we see that his skill is definitely no joke. Now, I am curious, does he have any powers? Or is it just straight martial arts? Because if it's just straight martial arts, that's insane. But moving on, so the second thing to talk about, though, is Speed of Sound Sonic. So Sonic returns again, and this time he finds out where Saitama lives and has come to just basically attack him. However, Genos ends up interfering, and they have a fight instead. Now, Genos and Sonic seem to be almost at an impasse, like they're pretty much equal in power, at least as of now, and even almost equal in speed. We see through their fights that Genos can actually keep up with Sonic, but Sonic still manages to be faster. We also see in the end that Genos might have been able to defeat Sonic, but Saitama himself stopped the fight. So it's really interesting to see how Sonic's power level compares, because that was something I did always kind of wonder. Like, it was obvious in Season 1 that he was no match for Saitama. But I always wondered, like, how did his power level actually compare? I actually wondered if he was comparable to Genos. And as we see in this episode, he definitely is. But to be fair, Genos recently got new parts because of G4 from the first episode, the machine god. And that definitely had increased his speed and power and stuff. So I think that Sonic, while he definitely is trained as well, was probably stronger than Genos before that. And that Genos is only stronger because of these recent developments. But then we have our third thing. So Fubuki, Class B, Rank 1, comes to invite Saitama to the Blizzard group because she sees massive potential in him. However, when he refuses, she has her two associates try to take him out as kind of this message to people who refuse her. And Saitama kind of compares her to like a gang boss, and I kind of see how that was an apt comparison with the way she was acting, the way she was threatening him and stuff. And she ends up having a small like fight with Saitama, even though really it's not much of a fight. Saitama doesn't even do much of anything to her, and she just like uses her sidekick abilities, which are really powerful and really impressive, just not against Saitama. And they end up being distracted eventually by Genos and Sonic, whose fight returns to that area. But we learn that Fubuki's reasoning for doing this kind of thing, for trying to be number one in the B class and making all of these underlings and having, just all of this kind of stuff to where she's number one in the B class, is because she's always felt like number two. She's always felt like her older sister Tatsumaki has been overshadowing her. And this is a real issue that a lot of people have, especially a lot of people with siblings. A lot of people, especially younger siblings, will always feel that their older siblings or just others around them will be overshadowing them, and that people will look more fondly upon them. And it doesn't even have to be younger to older, even. In some cases, younger people will be given a lot more attention and focus and love and everything, and they'll just be better in a lot of ways. And a lot of insecurities can be bred from this. So Fubuki having these and trying to become the best in A class and not even try to go any higher because, well, she doesn't believe she could ever defeat Amai Mask. We see that she both lacks confidence, but also has this confidence to be the best she can. It's kind of a little mix of both, and it's pretty interesting. I like that her reasoning for doing this was also given, backstory to it. Unlike with like other characters from season 1, like Snakebite Snack, who tried to rookie crush Genos and Saitama, she actually has a legitimate reason for her actions here. She's not just being an asshole. She really desires to be the best at something, to not be outclassed by everyone like she always had been. But after she tells them this, she sees how their relationship is, and she's still confused about like the fact that Genos, a Class S hero, is this disciple of a Class B hero. Then King, another S-Class hero who's 7 ranks above Genos, comes in, and it's like talking so casually to Saitama. It's like, Saitama, did you take my game? And they're just talking so casually about it and shit, and it's kind of funny. I like how they've kind of become friends and all through this. And Fubuki's just even more confused, and she kind of says like, she almost kind of says like, I want to join them. I just want to be part of this group. And what was being said? It's like she even asked like Saitama at one point. I want to bring this up too. Like what's wrong with forming factions? And Saitama's basically like nothing at all. And it's just the way you were handling things. It's just the way you were treating people and looking down on people. It's like there's nothing inherently wrong with creating factions, and there's not. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, it's not a bad idea. The only difference here is, again, your intent for it. Fubuki's intent had been to kind of manipulate others to be under her, to be subservient to her, because she wanted to be the best at something, even if that's just the B class. And she wanted others just to be under her for once. And again, I get why. I don't blame her, but at the same time, she went about things in a really bad way. But yeah, she does all of that. But then it's like, you can be a leader of a faction as long as you treat those who work under you right and see them more as a team rather than than your underlings, basically. Stop using threats, stop using intimidation tactics, that kind of stuff. And it's just like, I hope she starts to learn that. I think she will. I think it's just her feelings of inadequacy in comparison to her older sister, Tatsumaki, that is making her feel this way. And again, completely understandable. But yeah, we're definitely interested to see where this goes. One other thing to note, just before I end this, Saitama and Genos have hero names now. And neither of them are really the best. Like, Saitama's is Bald Cape. And it's like, oh my god, that's so unoriginal and stupid. It's like you could think of a million other things. I mean, obviously they're not going to think of necessarily One Punch Man. Like, that's obviously not going to come into play. At least not yet. If they do rename him at some point, that will not be anytime soon. And it's just like, Bald Cape, really? Like, I know some of these heroes have some silly names, but that's just ridiculous. Like, even Spring Mustachio sounded better than that. Um, but then there's Genos, Demon Cyborg. And I get the nickname, but it sounds like a villain name. It does not sound like it does not sound like the name of a hero. Again, I understand why they went with that, but it just does not sound like a hero name. I I don't understand why they thought that would be a good idea. Uh, but I mean, that's probably the point, that the names are kind of ridiculous and not really that good. Like, even King's name, it's like, that's a fairly good name. Hellish Blizzard, Terrible Tornado, those are good hero names. Hell, My Mask is even a good hero name. But it's like, Demon Cyborg and Bald Cape, it's like, there's got to be better, more original, creative names you can come up with than that. And they spent 2 hours on that, apparently, and only 15 minutes talking about the oncoming threat of Garo, which they just don't consider a threat, apparently. I guess it's kind of one of those situations where it's like, oh, all those, probably a couple hundred people who were there were massacred, including 3 A-class heroes. But it's like, oh, he's just a human. Most of those guys were just scum off the streets, these bad dudes. We don't even care about them anyways. And it's just like, it makes me think too much of our current administration here in the U.S. And it's just like, that's kind of how I feel that our presidential administration here right now would be in that kind of situation. I mean, that's kind of how they are right now with foreign people and shit. I'm not going to get into all of that, but it's like, that's just irritating that they would spend 2 fucking hours on names, on hero names, something that's not important, in comparison to 15 minutes on a legitimate oncoming threat. It doesn't matter if he's human. That by no means matters. And just saying that Silverfang is after him, is hunting him down, that doesn't matter either. We saw what this guy can do. That thing just kind of irritates me. That just kind of mindset with all of this. But either way, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. It was another fantastic One Punch Man episode, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. So tell me in the comments below what you thought of episode 2 of One Punch Man's second season, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,